River Ward is one of Cyberpunk's most grounded, tragic, and misunderstood characters. Not because of who he became, but because of what he survived. He wasn't born tough. He wasn't born righteous either. He was born with two parents, a sister, and a small farm. But one night, it was all taken from him. And the truth about kids like that is they grow up into one of two things: either a man who breaks or a man who refuses to let anyone else break the way they did. And River, he chose the second path. You see, he grew up on a small family farm, you know, quiet and honest, but one night shattered all of it. Some drugged out hustlers broke into the shop beneath the family home, and when they found nothing to steal, they went upstairs looking for someone to punish. And River watched them beat his father until he stopped moving. Then one of them grabbed River's hand, a child's hand. He wrapped it around a gun and pointed it at his mother. Imagine that, your innocence ending in the span of a breath. A boy was told to pull the trigger on the woman who protected him his whole life. And understandably, River froze. So the man took the gun back and ended her life in a single, cold decision. And in that instant, River wasn't just orphaned. He was traumatized. He was rewired. And he was branded with the truth way too big for a child to understand. And that truth is, no one cares, and no one is coming to save you. At least that's what the world taught him. And the NCPD, they didn't catch the killers. No justice came. The world just simply moved on and left the boy behind. And you know the sad part is, this isn't just a nice city story. This is real life for so many kids today. Whole neighborhoods where tragedy hits and the world just shrugs. Kids who lose everything, and somehow the world expects them to grow up anyway. Some of them fall, some disappear into the cracks, and some, the rare ones, they turn their pain into purpose. River Ward became one of the rare ones. You see, trauma shapes people in ways textbooks never capture. A boy who wasn't protected becomes a man obsessed with protecting others. A child who lost everything becomes a man afraid to lose anything again. And the ones who survive the impossible, they carry a purpose that burns hotter than any anger and deeper than any fear. You see, River's purpose wasn't something that he discovered. It was carved into him the night that his innocence died. Not rage, not heroism, just the memory of a boy that no one protected. And that's why he became a cop, not because he trusted the badge, but because once upon a time, the badge didn't show up for him. You know, people call it duty, but I call it math. Every moment he wished someone had protected him. Every time the system failed another kid. Every night he carried the weight that he wasn't supposed to carry. It all added up to one truth. He became the man he needed when he was a boy. And as an adult detective, River learns the harsh truth that institutions don't protect people. People protect people. So River's partner commits suicide, and his new partner warns him not to dig too deep. Then the mayor of Night City, Lucius Rhine, dies under circumstances that reek of power games and buried truth. River then uncovers information, a brain dance laced with malicious code, political cover-ups, and corruption running deeper than the city's pipelines. And instead of being praised, he's told to shut it down, to stop asking questions, to be quiet. But River refuses, and Night City suspends him, not because he's wrong, but because he's right. You see, River wasn't fighting criminals, he was fighting systems. The same kinds of systems that failed him when he was a kid. But the difference now is that he's old enough to push back. But systems don't break just because one honest man pushes back. Sometimes they push back harder. And River was about to learn the hard way when the fight came for the one thing he couldn't afford to lose. And that was his family. So while the city stonewalls him, River takes on a different battle. The quiet one. He becomes the father figure to his sister's kids. He helps them with homework, meals, discipline, love, all the things he barely remembers having himself. Not because it's easy, not because he has time, but because when life breaks you young, you either repeat the cycle or you become the shield that stops it. You see, most men don't understand what it costs to carry responsibility, to show up tired, to care when it hurts, to protect people who don't even know they're being protected. But River does it anyway, even when he's exhausted, even when the system spits on him, even when the weight nearly crushes him. Because the strongest men aren't the ones who had someone to lean on. They're the ones who learn to stand up alone. You see, River Ward isn't a symbol of justice. Justice is too clean for a man like him. He's a symbol of responsibility, of survival, of choosing to become the protector that you never had. He is every boy who grew up too fast, every man who carries childhood trauma quietly without asking for anything in return. He's every adult who refuses to become what broke them. And maybe this is where River's story hits harder than we expect, because every real father, every man who steps up for a child, whether it's his kid or someone else's, knows this truth. No one sees how much you carry until you stop carrying it. The sacrifices, the late nights, the bills you quietly pay, the fears you swallow so your family doesn't have to taste them. You see, men like River never get medals for it. They don't get applauses. They don't get thank yous. But they show up anyway. And maybe, if we're being honest, that's you, the man who became strong because life didn't give him a choice. The man who protects everyone while no one protects him. The man who learned early that responsibility isn't a burden, it's a promise. And that's why River matters, because every family survives on the shoulders of men like him. Men who weren't protected as boys, but still show up for others anyway. So here's to the fathers, the uncles, the brothers, to every man who became the protector he never had. So tell me, did you have someone who protected you? Or did you have to become that man yourself? So next time, we talk about the child that everyone ignored. Not his nephew, not Randy, not yet, but another boy. One buried inside a system that looked away, until that child grew into the very nightmare that River will one day fear the most. So before you judge the monster, you have to meet the boy that he used to be.